What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to discuss if Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is the greatest Star Wars game ever. Now, we actually made a video talking about this, if it was going to be. Like, could it be? We made that video around like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It did very, very well, and so I wanted to follow it up and basically answer the question. Now, we're going to be talking about spoilers. We're going to be talking about some of the things that happen in this game, so I just want to make that pretty clear for you guys. If you're not interested in spoilers, then turn away now. And here's the deal. I haven't beaten the game. I haven't fully played the game from start to finish. I have seen the ending. I've watched the game online, and I've also played around 10 hours of my own. So that's just kind of, I just want to throw that out there to start. And it's just going to be my opinion. If you don't agree with my opinion, totally cool. I just want to get that out there first as well. I know there's a lot of probably passionate people on both sides. Here's where I ultimately come down on this game. I really love it. I really love this game, and I don't think it's the best Star Wars game ever. And that's pretty much, I think, what a lot of people probably would have landed on a couple, where they would have said even a couple weeks ago, even a couple months ago, as the game continued to look and seem like it was going to be better and better and better. I think the general idea, and even from you guys in the comments, which I was reading all the comments of those videos, really seemed to be like, is it going to be a great game? Yes. And even we even made videos about, could it be Game of the Year? Could it be Game of the Year? Well, yeah, maybe. Will it be Game of the Year? Like actually when it's out, is it actual Game of the Year contender? I think this game should be a Game of the Year contender. I don't know if it necessarily is the best game that came out this year, but I definitely think it's in the running. And then when it came to the Star Wars discussion, it was like, well, I think we all thought this game was going to be pretty darn solid. It's just those Knights of the Old Republic games, right? That's pretty much what a lot of people kept coming back to could it beat Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2? And I'm not a massive fan of those games, but I do completely respect the heck out of them, and I do think those games are better. I actually am enjoying myself in this game way more than I did in The Force Unleashed, which I love The Force Unleashed. I love the first game. The second game, my memories of it are really good. I was younger back then. I don't really want to revisit, 9 years ago. I was only 14, okay? So I was probably just in just really happy to be playing a game where you're that powerful with the Force. Looking back, I have seen people who have done kind of a retrospective on that game. All of the problems that development studio had, basically having to make that game in under a year, and really just the fact that game is not very good whatsoever. The first Force Unleashed, I always kind of had that as the bar for this game. Like, will it beat or will it even meet the bar of The Force Unleashed? And then after that, then we can talk about Knights of the Old Republic, because I feel like that's kind of like the top dog, right? Like, if it could beat that, then, I mean, we're talking about one of the most special games ever. And ultimately, this game has so much going for it. It really does. This game is fantastic. It does have problems, though. I do think it's better than The Force Unleashed. I actually, for who Starkiller is, I feel like I kind of like Starkiller just a little bit more than this main character. What you did in The Force Unleashed was pretty cool, but I just feel like this game is just an overall better game. I love the feel of the Unchartedness with really just exploration in general. The fighting, I think, is absolutely amazing. And I talked about that. I think the Force is one thing in this game, but how would they use the lightsaber? How amazing or how bad would the lightsaber feel in this game? How do the lightsaber mechanics work? And playing in the game, it's like, wow, this is, I think, of all the games, any Star Wars game ever, I do think this is my favorite playing with a lightsaber. Now, that could be a very bold thing, but just all the skills you can do, and it really does feel like you have a lot of power with your lightsaber and blocking and deflecting back at your enemies, and just all the different things you can do with your lightsaber. I love it. I really do love it. And to be honest with you, again, we're going back to my original statement, I think this is better than The Force Unleashed. Do I think it's better than Knights of the Old Republic? No. I think this game falls just short of those two games. I feel like the story overall isn't the greatest. I mean, it's got an idea, but it's kind of got an idea that I feel like has already been used before of yeah, there's Jedi still around, or there's I keep calling them Jedi. Basically in every video I call them that. There's Force-sensitive people still around in the galaxy, and they're either going to fall to the Empire, they're going to fall into their hands, or we save them. only to be found out at the end of the game that it's like, well, their destiny is in their own hands, so I'm destroying the holocron. And so, like, it's a solid enough story. It's a solid enough premise, but I just feel like it's kind of already been done. Like, we've already kind of seen that. I also don't think any of the main characters are all that amazing, all that interesting, so I don't feel like it's got the greatest main protagonist that a game can have. Not even just a Star Wars game, just any general game. I really don't feel like they're up to snuff. That's something that you can totally fix in the next game. I definitely agree if you were to say that, but in this game, I feel like that's lacking. The game itself, I told this to Tyler, who's on this channel as well, and I told him that a weird way of describing this game in terms of like how it holds up like mechanically is the game can't handle how amazing it wants to be. There's some phenomenal sequences in this game in general all throughout the game, and I feel like a lot of times, and then they could be patched, you know, you could fix it with patches, but like, still, you should judge a game. If you bought the game day one, you're playing it day one, you have to judge it based off that day one. The game cannot handle itself. They want to do so many amazing things, but the frame rate is super, super choppy. There's so many pop-ins, so many textures aren't actually, like, developed and or, like, they literally aren't actually finished. They can be fixed. Again, sure, they can all be fixed, but again, like visually, at sometimes it can look absolutely amazing. Certain cutscenes, the more CG-ish cutscenes, the game looks absolutely incredible. But also, I'd say more than half the time, the game really actually doesn't look that good at all. And again, I think the game is trying, and they tried. It's just that they need to patch some things, they need to fix some things, and you can argue if that's unexcusable or excusable. That's up to you. But that's also. But I do see that as a negative. That's definitely a negative. And yeah, do the Knights of the Old Republic games look like a 2019 game? No, they don't. But there's just something to them. So, you know, overall, Respawn did exactly, I think, what a lot of people were absolutely hoping they would do. It's not the greatest game in the world. It's not the greatest Star Wars game ever made, but it is an amazing game. It's a game that has so many good things in it. It's a game that should be a Game of the Year contender. It's a game that is one of the best Star Wars games to ever come out. It's a game that pushes the story, the single-player narrative kind of games, while also saying, hey, there's more things you can do. You can go back in the worlds. There's crates to explore. There's Echo. I mean, there's so many things you can find. The customization to your lightsaber, all of those kind of things. You can play it on increased difficulties, and they do make definitely a huge difference. You know, having that kind of style, the Tomb Raider, Uncharted, God of War kind of style in this game, like, they did it. This is exactly what we were hoping, that they could push this, and they could, and now we have to do our part, which I've said, and we have to buy this game. We have to support this game, and then hopefully EA looks at it and says, wow, people want this game. Well, okay, firstly, Respawn, go ahead and make the second game, and secondly, we need more studios making these kind of Star Wars games going forward. So, in my mind, it really is kind of the best of both worlds. We got a very good game. We didn't get the greatest game ever created, but we got one of the better games that came out this year, and again, we got one of the better Star Wars games that have come out, and we easily got, I think, the best Star Wars game that's come out in like 10 years or however long it's been. Definitely ever since EA got the license, this is the best Star Wars game. I mean, it's hard to compare, I guess, with Battlefront 1 and 2. I do love Battlefront 2. It's not the same kind of game, but I feel like for what this game is, I definitely love this game. So I think we got the best that we possibly could have hoped for. But guys, let me know, do you think this is the best Star Wars game that's ever come out? Do you think this is a Game of the Year contender? Let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel podcast. Now hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And thank you, as always, for watching. I hope to see you guys on future Star Wars Jedi videos.